So I recently went to see a Reiki healer, so I had no idea what to expect. It was actually booked for me by my sister who's got stage 4 cancer, and one of the things we're starting to try is spiritual healing. So not to heal her physically, although that would be amazing, but the emotional turmoil that we've been under since her diagnosis is absolutely huge. So I just wanted to tell you it because honestly, my mind is blown. I can't stop thinking about it. I had it a few weeks ago and I feel totally different. I feel like somebody has literally, physically ripped out some really deep held anger issues that I had for years, and in 45 minutes, I'm totally different. I hold myself differently. I can work and get on here. So Reiki healing, I knew nothing about it. My sister booked it. It was at her house. We were at my sister's house, and we just filmed a video. I'll pop a little clip of it here because we were just filming this really difficult video to update people on my sister's diagnosis and the fact that she'd been told she'd had a second opinion basically, and she'd been told it was stage 4 incurable cancer. And we were talking about that, and I was really struggling, obviously, and I'd been really struggling. I was shaking all the time. I was freezing cold, and I felt huge waves of this huge anger towards like why my sister and why the universe would do this to somebody that I love, towards old issues of anger that had been like with other family members who've like betrayed you or let you down in the past or hurt her. And I was just like, how dare they have hurt her? Like all this sort of was coming to the surface, because I think when somebody gets a life changing diagnosis, your sort of whole life gets into perspective. So when the Reiki healer arrived, I was totally not really interested. I kind of just wanted to be by myself. I didn't want to meet anyone new. And she was like having a cup of tea, really nice, and I was just sort of checked out of the conversation. I left the chat. And then they said, right, you're going to go first. And I was like, ugh. And she said to me, are you all right? And I was like, well, no, I'm not all right. I wanted to be like, no, I'm not all right. You know, I'm living my absolute hell. My sister is being told, you know, this awful news, and I'm supporting her. I've got 2 little nieces. Like, I just was really in that headspace of pure trauma. And I went in, I didn't even feel like I could lie down, and she said, you know, I'm not a psychic, I'm a healer, and basically it's healing hands. So I was like, you don't even touch me, like what happened? She's like, no, I'm a healer. So the whole thing of Reiki, I have to read it to make sure I get it right, because I said I'm not a expert at all. So it's a Japanese form of energy healing. That's what they do. So it is alternative medicines. There's all these like Reiki, acupuncture, reflexology, all of those. I've tried all of them, and this is the only thing that's worked. So it's hands-on healing, which a universal energy is said to be transferred through the palms of a practitioner to the patient to encourage emotional or physical healing. So I led down. Her name's Tracy, she's incredible. I will link her below because you won't believe what happened to me. Basically, she said she might fall asleep, some people feel a glow, and I was thinking, oh my, I'm too worked up to lie still for 45 minutes, and I was lying there. I did not lie still. My body started to go absolutely crazy. This is Miss Evelina Blossom. When she started, my body just started to vibrate. Like, she called it vibration. I was like, I was just shaking all over. She was like, your whole body was vibrating with this energy. I think my energy was so... my tension, my energy was just like, her whole body was shaking. And I could feel as her hands moved, honestly, the energy move. And I was like, what is going on? So it would sort of be coming up, and then she was moving along my head at one point, and she was touching my head. She got to about here on my head. For some reason, I don't know if that was a point, maybe you tell me, I had this huge reaction. So I keep describing it in a bit of a rude way. There's huge build up, and then there's huge release. So I'm like, you can only describe it like a sort of orgasm. It's the only way I can describe it, which I know makes no sense, but that feeling of something's building up and you're sort of going like, and I was like kind of sobbing, but I was out of control of it basically, and it was just this feeling that it was literally in my head, and then I just went like, and I was making all these noises. My sister was next door thinking, what the hell is SJ doing? And then it literally felt like this, my whole body went, and I thought I hated that. I thought I absolutely hated that because it was frightening. And she said to me before, you're in this room, you're safe. Anything that happens, you're in this room. So I was kind of, sorry, my battery died. That's good energy. So I was trying to channel that, and I wasn't thinking this is a great experience. I was sort of, I guess, a bit like in the moment, and I was a bit surprised because I was thinking, she said some people fall asleep and I did not be able to fall asleep, and I was sort of conscious that I'm in my sister's house, like what the heck is happening. I was on this little bed, and then she started to move her hands down my body, and my whole vibrations were like in my legs, and I could literally feel it, like my top head felt clear, and my legs were going crazy. I promise, it's the weirdest thing's ever happened to me. I felt like I was being like exorcised, you know, like when you see it in a movie. And then I could feel this build up again. I thought, oh no, I really, really don't like this. I don't want to have that feeling of this anger and this, you know, I've been really protecting my heart, and I think that I didn't want to let go of this armour that I built up in a way as well, because it was serving me quite well, protecting myself from, you know, what's obviously just the worst time of my life. But I felt this pressure, and I was thinking, and I was doing my like breathing that I did like kind of in labour, like thinking like, you know, like your body sort of feels out of control like in labour. Now I'm using really weird references. So I was kind of like that, and then I felt this again, and I felt this build up, and I was sobbing again. Can't call it crying, I can just call it sobbing. It's like going, and then I felt again like, and I felt the relief again, and this feeling that this really hard feeling that of this sort of rock that I was holding inside of me, it felt like it had gone. So then the session kind of finished. I was like, oh my god, and I sat up, and she was like, you look totally different. And my sister came in the room and was like, you look totally different. Like I sat up, like I felt lighter. You know when people say a weight off your shoulders, it had literally gone. Like I felt so much lighter in my emotions. I felt like a different person. I felt like the anger, and it hasn't come back, and it was a couple of weeks ago, and I cannot stop thinking about it because we're trying a ton of alternative therapies. And if you'd like to hear more about all of them, I will tell you. So we've done gong baths, reflexology, I just had hypnotherapy, I've done mindful meditation, like anything I can at the moment to help myself. I'm really aware that I have to be strong. And so I'm delving into this side. My sister's had psychic surgery, like we are doing everything we can, but the Reiki, both of us have said, has been the most profound experience. So I felt like the anger had really gone, and I was really struggling with this anger, and she said quite a few things to me afterwards, which I'm not sure if there's like confidentiality about, but I already said on Instagram. But she said, you know, she's not psychic, but sometimes she gets kind of names or feelings, and she felt for me that I was meant to work with children, and that maybe in a past life I've been working with children, maybe a midwife or something, and that I was back, and that was a real purpose in my life, which I find really interesting, because it's always been a sort of a life stage plan for me to work with children after having my own children. And I've got my own children now, so that was interesting. And I was just like, And then she mentioned that my anger, she said, you really didn't want to let it go. And I said, no, I really didn't. And she mentioned that, which I was interested, so she could feel me pulling back and her trying to release this tension and this anger energy. And then she pinpointed exactly who my anger was with. And she would never have known that. Like there was no way she would know that, even if she was like my most avid social media viewer, which she isn't. I don't think she's like, she wasn't following me here or on Instagram or anything. But she knew exactly who my anger was with, and she sort of mentioned that. And I was really surprised, and yeah, it felt quite the experience, as you can tell. So I just wanted to share it with you because I'd never heard of it. I'd never really known what to expect. I feel like I've made it maybe sound scary, but I would have it again in a heartbeat. I've recommended it to all my friends. One of my friends had it as a couple. They did it on Zoom, and she really got a lot out of it, and felt really as well, like probably not as great as being in person, but she had a huge intuitive reaction to it as well, and felt like some limiting beliefs were taken away from her, which was what she was struggling with, like getting to the next stage of doing something that was good for herself. So yeah, #healed. I just wanted to share it. Ask me any questions in the comment section below. I will link Tracy as well, but obviously any Reiki healer, just do a research, use the recommendation, let me know your experiences what do you reckon? I will see you on my next video. Let me know any other, if you want to hear my other alternative therapies, let me know, and do subscribe to support my sister on her cancer journey. Bye guys.